in today's lesson, we're going to talk about the dreaded chicken wing. We've all seen it, we've all read about it, we've all heard about it. What you need to know is what causes it and what you can do to prevent it. Welcome back, everybody. Out here on number 8 at Twin Lakes on an October morning. Fog is setting in. It's kind of a spooky, eerie feel. And today's topic is a little bit spooky. It's the dreaded chicken wing. Okay? We've all heard about what the chicken wing is. But like in most cases, most people really don't know how to identify it and what are the root causes and effects involved in the chicken wing. So the first thing we need to know is just let's identify it. So in golf, and our number one goal is to just make sure that you maintain some structure and some functionality to your golf swing. We talked a lot about we're not too involved in proper technique. We're much more concerned in proper skill and putting the golf club in the right position at the moment of truth, which is impact. But we see it time and time again on the driving range. And what we need to focus on in order to fix the chicken wing is this. If you swing the golf club in a very functional manner, okay, you notice that my elbows and my arms really stay pretty focused and very structured and somewhat connected to my body. And someone that chicken wings, they can do it one of two ways. We see it with the right arm or your trail arm for right-handed golfers on the takeaway. We see some chicken wing action on the takeaway. But probably more relevant, we see the chicken wing happen at impact and post-impact as they deliver the club into the golf ball, okay? So you can see that if my elbows separate on either side of the golf ball, we lose that structure and that connectivity. Now, let's talk about some causes. There's 2 or 3 things that cause the chicken wing, okay? There can be, we talk a lot about matchups. If you're someone, we talked about in our last video, someone that comes steep and over the top, you can't have this golf club just collide into the ground. You can't have this collision take place. Your divots will be too steep, they'll be too deep. So if you come steep, I'll give you a better example. If you come too steep and over the top, okay, you have to shorten the radius of the golf swing. So what needs to happen? This needs to happen. You need to shorten so you don't collide with the ground. Now we have separation. If we had too much structure and connectivity down at the bottom, you'd hit fat shots, okay? And we've all done that. So there's a lot of times out of necessity, you have to chicken wing. That doesn't mean it's correct, that doesn't mean it's functional. Another example of some causes. If your body stops, okay, once you put your arms in motion, let's say, your arms and hands are not gonna stop, which means the club is not gonna stop. But we see a lot of students stall their body out and the arms keep going. See that? They stall their body and the arms keep going. What should it look like? It should look like this, where we get into that high heart situation and a lot of structure and connectivity. Now, 2 things that research shows us that's very relevant. One of them has to do with low point, okay? for every inch, we know that low point needs to be about 2-3 inches in front of the golf ball. And for every inch that that low point moves back, it's basically 5 handicap points. Okay, so if a scratch golfer is 3 inches in front of the ball, and let's move that low point 5 inches back, okay, now we're going up to about a 15, 16, 17 handicap. Another good example of a good measurement is how far our hands stay away from our body after we make impact. So this is what a scratch golfer looks like. Okay, this is what a 6 handicapper looks like, just making up numbers. This is what a 12 looks like. This is what a 25 handicap looks like. Chicken wing, okay? So all we have to do is teach just a lot of structure and connectivity, and we want to feel like our elbows are staying together both on this side of the golf ball and on this side of the golf ball. Okay, so common issue number 4 is the chicken wing, right? We see it a lot, almost every day on the driving range. At some point, somebody's separating their arms on this side of the ball, and certainly on this side of the ball, we see a lot of separation there. So we've identified it, we've defined it, we know what it is now. So now we need to figure out some root causes. And so many times in golf, the actual issue, if we are trying to tackle defeating a chicken wing, we need to figure out somewhere early on in the golf swing why this is occurring. So many times the issue is here, the cause is somewhere else. 2 causes that we see more times than not. The flawed concept that the club face through impact needs to stay square for too long. So when somebody finishes, they think that that is a square club face, and that is not a square club face. That's a very open club face. That would be back to square, okay? So people try to keep the face square, square, square. As they do that, notice I start to collapse into this position, where we want to be is all the way over here, okay? So keeping this club face square, or the idea of what the correct position should be, is flawed. The second one would be someone, we talked in an earlier video about shallowing out, okay? We know that too many people come steep and over the top, and this will cause that chicken wing as well. If you come steep over the top, that means that your club is now in a position where your hand path will move directly left very quickly, this way. Now you can start to see that my chicken wing shows up on the down the line view. Something that we do all the time on the range. It's a really good way to figuring out what people and how their left arm works, okay? If we just identify one part of the body instead of looking at the entire body as a whole. If I ask one of my students, the majority of them, just to hold on to the club face with their left hand and swing, I see this a lot. Okay? It's very flawed. Their shoulder's almost going to come out of socket when they do this. Here's another angle. So their body kind of stops and their arm just keeps going. If I give a scratch golfer or a better ball striker that same idea, hey, put it in one hand, your left hand, and just swing, this is what they'll do. They'll sync up their body. They'll start to see that their arm collapses and the club face closes. Okay? That's what we want. Not this.
Okay, very basic, very simple. An easy drill that I like to see all of my students do is shrink things down. If I can teach you to hit a pitch shot, just a basic functional pitch shot or a chip shot, and your body works perfectly and functional, we've got it, okay? Too many people go out to the range and they hit full shots, 100%, okay? That will never work. You don't give yourself enough feedback. What I've got set up here is just two basic golf balls. I have a 9-iron. I hit my 9-iron about 145 yards. Today I'm gonna hit a 50. And what I'm gonna work on is the shallowing out and then a lot of extension on the other side of the ball. Just short little chip shots. Here's another example from a different view. Okay, what we see so often is an important measurement in golf. You can see if I chicken wing that my hands are getting close to my body. We need these hands to be further away, almost like we're pushing away from us, okay? This is a scratch golfer. This is a 6 handicap. This is a 15 handicap. This is a 30 handicap. So that measurement of where your hands are relative to your body is a good indicator of what kind of golfer you are. If we feel like we're pushing away over here where our arms have collapsed and my right forearm is above my left, much different scenario than this. Hands are close together and we see our elbows separate, okay? Another great way to tackle this, put a towel underneath your left arm. We see this done out on tour all the time, okay? Now we have a lot of connection over on the lead side, and we just do little miniature swings, and we feel that that towel stays underneath. We get into a good cheeks and cleats position. That's going to give you the feel of structure and connectivity. If we separate and our arms get close to us, the towel falls, okay? Really good feedback. So here's a couple examples of the chicken wing, good versus bad.
A great side-by-side example of what we're talking about. On the left, chest down, lack of structure and connectivity, a breakdown of the left arm. And on the right, plenty of structure and connection.
So, in conclusion, what have we learned about the chicken wing? We identified it, we defined it. It's basically the idea of our hands becoming too close to our body after impact, and we don't feel that structure and connectivity of our arms. We learned that maybe the chicken wing is done out of necessity because you're a steep and over the top person that doesn't want to collide into the ground. So you learn to pull that chicken wing out, so that gives you a little bit more room to work down through that hitting zone. Maybe you're a person that just wants to keep the square face as long as possible, like this. And we learned that we've got to learn to get that right forearm over the left and fold into this finish position. We've given you a couple really basic drills. Feel structure and connectivity with towels underneath certainly your lead arm, if not both arms, and then just hit golf balls off of tees. Very short into this position, feeling like you have a lot of length and separation after impact. So I hope these ideas have helped. It's not easy, it does take time, but you have to have a good basic of awareness on exactly what you're trying to tackle in order to see improvement. So if you have more questions, we're easy to find. Come look us up. Thanks for joining us.